147.08 with a specific tone of 103.5. Again, that tone is 103.5. And again, this is Dave, KD7CYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. So far checked into the net is Ron, KD7QKU in Tacoma, Jessica, KF7UHK in Everett, Lee, N7KC in Port Angeles, N7QO in Covington, Jim, James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue, and myself, Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City. Is there anybody else wishing to check into the net? Well, again, welcome to the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. Again, I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, let's go to Ron, KD7QKU.
Very much, Dave. This is Ron, KD7QKU. Well, when I first got here, of course, I always have, it seems like quite often I have trouble with Discord, or it's my computer, I don't know, one or the other. But I couldn't mute there for a while, and then the picture went completely out, and then it came back on. I always started up early to give it a chance to do all of this annex, so that when net time comes, hopefully it'll work correctly. So it's seemingly working correctly. I'm still getting feedback from somebody.
Lily, come here.
The other day, but it was just enough to make the grass white. Didn't make the street white or the driveway. And let's see. Hang on a second. I was over at the Ham Club today, and I got a new hat. One of the guys in the club makes everybody hats, so I got a nice new hat. At least I like it. So anyway. See, it's got some lint on it. So, not much going on over here. Let's see, I'm trying to think if I did do anything. Other than go to the grocery store, and that's about it. And we're going to have some company, Joanne's having some company tomorrow afternoon. Some people that she worked with. And let's see. I could tell you what went on at the club today, but you wouldn't be in there. I mean, I just visited with some people. One of the guys that I visit with quite often, Lloyd, he's going to move up to Spokane to where his son lives. He lives on Pacific Avenue, on about 48th and Pacific Avenue. Said he had a little house, said he sold his house. He has to be out in, I think he said 60 days. So he'll be going up to Spokane pretty soon. So that's about it over here, not doing very much. So back to net, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, thanks with that. And again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. And the net would like to call up Jessica, KF7UHK in Everett.
Everett, this is Jessica, KF7UHK. I heard K7ATS on one of the trailers here, so I think Richard's hanging around. Let's see, what did we do today? Went up to the house, and like Ron, a couple days ago, we had a pretty nice dusting of snow, and actually it did cover our streets a little bit, just a little bit, but not enough to make it too dangerous, which is good, because I worked all this last week, and it's nice to be able to get to work without having to go on icy, slicky roads just to make it to work and back, you know. And otherwise, we worked up at the house today. You know, we just had our condo painted. fabulous. It makes me want to put sunglasses on. It's so bright and clean, and it smells like a new painted. It smells like a new car. It really does. And we're really impressed with what these guys did and how well they did it. And they made sure we didn't get our hardwood floors painted on, or our granite tiles in our kitchen or bathrooms. They just did just a fabulous job. Three guys came in and did it. So, because we're slowly moving out up to the house. Now we're gonna sell this condo and feel pretty good about it. That's what we've been doing. Campsite, USK.
KF7UHK, thanks with that. Well, let's make a trip to Port Angeles to Lee, N7KC.
Alright, can you hear me? Okay, alright. This is Lee on 7KC. In Port Angeles. For some reason tonight, my phone display is different than it has been in the past. Alright, so I don't know what's going on here. But I guess I'm getting out. Normally there's a big microphone shows here, but not tonight, but it seems to be working. I don't know. Well, anyway, good to see you all. Hi to Richard, way down south. And I don't know if Covington Jim is aboard or not. I was messing with my nano VNA here, and I don't see Wade anyplace. I delivered the filter to Dick Peterson, KE7Z today, and he's taking it to his place in Des Moines tomorrow morning. And Wade has made arrangements to pick it up from him sometime around noon, I think. So that's all I got to report. I posted some photos, some screenshots on Groups.io. I don't know whether you guys saw them or not. I guess you can do that. I don't know. I'm not sure if are we paying the price to attach photographs to what we do? I don't know. Anyway, I put down the last piece of OSB for the subfloor yesterday. And so Paula came over and looked at it, and I said to her, it's a miracle. I started last September, late September, and I've been this long, but I can only go on maybe 2 hours a day tops, and I am whipped. So anyway, it's I think I used about 1,800 screws, and I forget how many sheets of OSB. I had to go back and get 4 more. I think I had 28 sheets, 4 by 8 foot sheets. Anyway, it was, now the next step is I had to remove the baseboard heaters from the wall, so I had to move them up a little bit, and they're just on blocks now. So I'm going to relocate those, and then I'll plug all the old holes, and then we're going to paint out, we're going to paint the room, the walls, in a hallway where there's new flooring, and also dining room, kitchen, and living room. And then it'll be time to lay down the actual floor. I should get done by summer. I don't know, I hope so. Anyway, well, I don't have anything else, so Dave, I'll send it back to you and just listen to the net. So, K7, the N7KC report head over to head office and technical.
N7KC, thanks with that. And the net acknowledges Richard, K7ITX in Arizona. What say you, Richard?
Well, I say Lee is working too hard.
guess that's not too cumbersome. But you're making progress, and congratulations. That's what I can say to you for that. That's for dang sure. I don't know. I'm sure I don't have the patience or the skill to do what you're doing. That's for darn sure. So, you guys are freezing to death, and I'm in the balmy 72 degrees today. This was the most picture-perfect day you would want any place where you're living. It was just so beautiful outside. I hardly got anything done, even though I wanted to get some paperwork finished off, and I did. I came in and I was able to get our income tax return electronically sent, and just before I came on the net, I noticed the IRS had accepted it. So this is the first time I've ever gotten a refund in probably over 30 years. So, so that's why I did it. That's why I did it this early. Because it's a big chunk of change. It's going to pay property tax. It's going to pay house insurance. It's going to pay a couple of things. And I thought, well, let's get this thing taken care of. So that was fine. At the hospital, they had me there for an echocardiogram and installed this Holter heart monitor on my chest. And it's pretty entertaining in the echocardiogram because, you know, they turn out all the lights, they put you in a bed with a pillow, and they massage your chest with this device, and I could not stay awake. I swear to God, over half a dozen times at least, they said, Mr. Rolls, would you please wake up? You know, because evidently they can't do a good job when you're sleeping. And all that, they were just, better than that. And then the monitor's no big deal. And yes, Ron, I get to shower with. Found out I get to shower with it. So I'm happy about that. I have to wear it for 14 days. No big deal. Can't even, right here, you can't even see it. But how crazy, you know, can't stay awake during the echocardiogram. That was nutty. K7ITX back to net control.
K7ITX, thanks for that. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, let's go to Tacoma to Wade, W7ITL.
Well, I think I'm coming in. Let's see here. I'm going to try to do two things at once here. I've just moved spaces, so you may notice a different background behind me. My office is now in our living room in our sunroom. So this is W7ITL. Here I am now on RF as well. Let's see, lots and lots of stuff going on today. I didn't even think that I would be able to get my ham shack working because I had to move it from the second story to the first floor. I was able to move my desk down here and then drill a hole through the side of the house and then route all my cabling into my room here that I got. And it seems to be working pretty good. My video is not as good. That might be because I'm using my integrated camera today, not my HD camera. So apologize for the video quality, but everything seems to be working. Last minute things were happening towards the beginning of the net. So today we had some internet issues, and I was able to get those resolved working with with Rob. So this seems to be working, and everything is good to go. So yeah, I will turn it back to Net Control. This is W7ITL.
W7ITL, thanks with that. Well, let's move to Covington to Jim, N7QO.
Good evening, everyone. Well, I don't know what's going on exactly with the repeater. If, from my perspective, the television repeater is working, but it is stepping a whole lot worse than I've ever seen it before. I've seen about 5 pictures which wound up being frozen. Right now I have just a black screen. I saw Dave, I saw Ron, I saw the spectrum scope and waterfall 2 separate times. And wait, I saw you, and you were moving for about 3 or 4 seconds and then froze. And like I said, now I have a black screen. Although the timer is counting now, so okay, now I've got the spectrum display with the waterfall. So let's see, Ron, snow. Yeah, you know, I still have more snow on the ground around here, just south of Covington, than I was expecting I should have, because we've had rain for some length of time here. But it definitely hasn't made all the snow go away as of yet. And right now I've got 40 degrees. Last night the temperature did not go below freezing. I think it hit a low of about 36. So the snow is just persistent where I am anyway. Jessica working. I'm sure people appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. Lee, moving the filter around. Roger that. Floor. Yeah, I agree with what Dick said. You're working way too hard. Working 2 hours per day, that's probably about my limit right now as well. And let's see, Dick, nice weather in Phoenix. Glad to hear that you got your electrocardiogram and a heart monitor. That's a good thing. That will hopefully help them diagnose some problem there. But shoot, I don't see anything wrong with taking a nap. If they make you that comfortable. I wish I could do that in a dentist's office. It doesn't happen though. I don't know. That's it for now. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO, thanks with that. Now let's go to James in Northeast Bellevue, WU7N.
Hey, let me do an audio check here. I'm trying some new antenna system here. Okay, so it's coming through tonight. Well, let's see, Jessica, yeah, your house never looks better than the day you sell it, does it? I mean, you know, why don't we make it look like that the day we move in and then keep it looking like that? I don't know, none of us ever do. But glad to hear you're making progress on that. Lee, you're such an inspiration. I would say that after 2 hours you hit the wall, but I guess it would be more like after 2 hours you stop hitting the floor is a better way to say it. But that is amazing, very inspirational. I have a lot of projects around here, trying to get 2 bathrooms done this building season. We'll see if that happens. Wow, it's a lot easier to do things, I think, when you have deadlines or a wife involved, either one. It just somehow gets done. But my deck last summer really came out well. I really lucked out with the person that I was finally able to get to do it. He was training his son and had a big job cancel out on him, so I got some real good expertise there with him. Just haven't been paying attention, but I think that's that's the only time I've heard 3 identifiers on the one, but I guess it's the 2 mountaintop sites plus the Echo link is identifying there. Well, I got involved in an interesting conversation today. Maybe we could toss this out here if you want. And that was, what is your favorite movie line or the most memorable movie line from any movie you've ever seen? It made me remember a lot of movie lines I'd forgotten, and maybe remember a few I wish I'd forgotten, but it was an interesting conversation. I guess Clint Eastwood, Go Ahead Make My Day, that's been written on the sides of more ordnance, I think, than anything else, any other statement, I think. I think at one point they stopped telling him to put it on there. Maybe there's copyright infringement, I'm not sure. But anyway, if you guys have a favorite movie line, I'd like to hear it, because that was kind of an interesting conversation. And it looks like my new antenna system's kind of holding up here. This is James, WW7N in Northeast Bellevue. Let me turn it back to our net control. Dave in Seattle, go ahead.
WU7N, thanks with that. This is Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City. And we get a quick ID here. Again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. Well, here in Lake City, I got 40 degrees and it's raining outside. And finally today, the mailman, I believe, delivered the last document I need to get my taxes together, so I'll be able to go see my tax man probably next week, or at least get a hold of him to get an appointment to get in to get the taxes done. And let's see, I did make a trip up to Costco, and it was fairly busy today, but the famous hot dog and drink was not available. They have closed down the facility for the food because they're doing a remodel, and said it'd be closed till the 1st of the month. So anyway, no hot dog, no drink today. So anyway, but plenty of other goodies at Costco I was able to run into, and filled up the cart with more than what I really wanted to. It's one of those places you can't believe you spent what as you go out the door. So anyway, this is out of the way and got that done. So that's pretty much what's happening here in Lake City. As far as freezing up, it's like I say, 40 degrees. Nothing's froze up here. It's just warm. So anyway, and what I've been able to see on coming off the Watts repeater, everything has been working fine this evening. Good quality pictures, and everything seems to be fine. So with that, I'm going to go up to the back to the top to KD7QKU. Ron, what say you?
Okay, well, thank you very much, Dave, and I guess I didn't say good evening to the group. Wade, I think you need to mute your computer. We hear conversation at your house, which is fine, but you might not want us to listen in. Jessica, it sounds like you're getting ready to move, so does that mean that Sylvia's nearing retirement, or maybe she's retired? I know that was one of the things you guys were sort of waiting for. And let's see, yeah, Wade's picture was as good as normal or better, I thought. I liked his picture. It was nice and light. Sometimes he's a little on the dark side. And Jim, you have quite a bit of snow. We didn't have nearly that much snow. Richard had his echocardiogram, I guess. We had many of those. I guess it wasn't a stress echo. I guess it was just an echo. If it had been a stress echo, you probably would have stayed awake. They always had me up, on the treadmill, and then had me lay down and then use that ultrasound to look at your heart. So anyway, yeah, Joanne had one of those monitors for a while, and I couldn't remember if she could shower or not. And her sister has one now. They have to mail them in. I don't know if you have to mail yours in or take it in, but mail it in, I guess. Yeah, that seems to be the standard thing with them. So let's see, what else? I made two notes. Wade had a good picture, and I was wondering if Sylvia was getting ready to retire. And Lee, you're just doing, like, I agree with everybody else, you're just doing too much work. What'd you say, 28 sheets? Oh my golly, that's a sling full. Oh goodness, did you haul all that yourself and then carry it in the house, or did you have it delivered? Painting, oh man, you guys are really like to work. You've done a lot of work on that house since you've been there, remodeling it and everything. And the sheds, and added that sunroom. Goodness sakes, you've done a lot of stuff. Making it real comfortable, I guess. I guess, did I tell you that my son had a chimney fire in his stove? I don't remember if I told you guys that or not. Well, he called me, I don't know what day it was, one morning, Thursday or something. And he was going to put some wood in it just before he went to bed. And I suppose it was 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whenever they go to bed. And he went downstairs. They have a two-story house, they sleep upstairs. And he opened the door to put some wood in, and it sucked in oxygen and just started roaring up the chimney. And he closed the door and shut it all down and ran outside.
So he was pretty anxious, but he has an outside pipe, insulated stainless,
Double walled or triple walled, that goes up 2 stories. So I don't know if the height of the pipe caused it to.
more than if it had been just one.
If it had been just 1 story, I don't know. He asked me that question, and I couldn't answer. He's only been burning wood, and it's a stove that I had a long time ago in Bellevue. It's a small stove, and he's only been burning wood in it for a month or two. I wouldn't have thought that the creosote would have accumulated that much to catch on fire. And the wood he said he's been using is just maple and fir and alder, and it's mostly dry. He's got it, he has kind of a carport on the end of his big shop, and he's got a concrete floor, and he has it stacked in there. And so it's out of the weather and it's pretty much dry. He said he was really surprised. So I don't know. And he asked me about using one of those creosote logs. They show them on TV, they advertise them. He wondered if that would be any good. I don't know, I never used one. I never knew anybody that did. I always cleaned my chimney when I lived in Bellevue. I had a rope and a chain all wadded up, and I would put that chain in there and go around and around or back and forth. And then I'd have to shovel it out in the garage. The chimney it was for the fireplace, and it had it clean out in the garage, and so I would clean it out in the garage. But I did that for years. I did have 2 chimney fires when I was there. One of them I didn't know about it until the fire department rang my doorbell, but that was kind of exciting. All right, back to net, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, thanks with that. And we'll get a quick ID here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, let's go to Everett, to Jessica, KF7UHK.
The almost chimney fire reminds me, we had our cabin we've been working on and doing a lot of lacquering of all the hardwood on the inside of the place. It was very beautiful, but I had this little jar with thinner in it. I'd clean my brush out every now and then, and the thinner seemed to be getting dirtier and dirtier and dirtier. And I had a nice roaring fire, and actually it was just down to embers. Had a nice roaring fire down to embers. And I thought to myself, I'm just going to toss the rest of this thinner into the wood stove. And I stood back, tossed tossed it in, just the liquids, and out came this fireball right at me, about 3 feet, came out from the wood stove, hit me right in the chest, and I had a fleece sweater on. It singed I think it singed every single thing on there. Instead of my eyebrows, my hair, but it was just like, well, if I'd been in any different position, I would have gotten burned. So fire's dangerous. Fire's that's a scary thing. Ron, let's see. Sylvia's not ready to retire yet, so she might be commuting from Mount Vernon just because she likes her job. Still, I should say, add the word "still" on it. She still likes her job, and she likes what she does, and I'm happy about that. James, as far as our condo, yeah, it makes me want to keep this place. It looks so nice and clean, but we just decided we need to downsize with how many pieces of real estate we have. So that's where we're gonna sell it, and it's looking like it's gonna make a pretty good coin compared to what we bought it for. Let's see, Richard is sleeping through his thing. When I had my eye surgery, where they went inside my eye, they had their IV all set up, ready to go, and the anesthesiologist said, "Okay, you might just feel something warm in your arm." And as soon as I said, "Oh yeah," and I was out, completely out, gone. And then lastly, bus driving, Jim, my pleasure. I'm glad for all the people that are happy with the rides they get, and someone gave me some Valentine's Day chocolate the other day, and I was just pleased as punch. It's so nice, and I like helping out people, so it works out in my DNA. So that's it from up here in Everett, KF7 UHK.
KF7 UHK, thanks for that, Jessica. And let's go to Port Angeles to Lee, N7KC. I guess we could call him our floor manager. Take it away, Lee.
Okay. You can hear me? Okay. Sounds good. N7K. Well, I don't know. Apparently there's an update to the Echo Link app on the phone because it's operating differently. And it's also giving me a time that I'm transmitting. That's interesting. Well, Jessica, I didn't know you were moving, but good luck with that. Stack fire. Now that's a big deal. We keep two things here at our place. Well, first off, when we moved in here, the wood stove that was here and the stack was dangerous. Before we ever put a fire in it, we hired an inspector to come in and check our wood stove system out. And he said you can put a posy on it or a candle in it, but do not light a wood fire in that stove. And it turns out that the stack above it had holes in it. There was creosote running down the outside of it up in the attic. So we had a new stack put in, and we got a new stove because the new stove, this one's got air tubes in it, so it's a lot cleaner burning. I didn't get the catalytic converter because you have to dink with them, and they're expensive all the time. And the air tubes are cheap, and they work well. Now, I had no experience, really. Coal-fired, yeah, back in Ohio, I did a lot of that. But wood burning, no. And I asked the people, the installers, they said, okay, there's two rules. One, dry wood only, and run it hot. Run it up just to the upper edge of the green, around 400 degrees, and you won't get any creosote. And that has generally been true because I go up there once a year and take the cap off and check the top of it. Creosote will condense at the coolest part of the bead pipe, the double wall pipe. And so if you have an exceptionally long stack, like 2 stories, it's going to be cool at the top. And that's where creosote will condense if you make it. So that's the idea for running the stove hot, is to keep the creosote hot so it doesn't condense and the dry wood doesn't make near as much as wet wood. Now we have 2 things. We have a fire log that we run every season. We run 1 log. And number 2, we have a fire putter outer. I forget what they call it, but we keep it right near the stove. And if you get a stack fire, then what you do is you throw that thing in the stove, and what it does is it's something that eats up the oxygen and will put the fire out. Otherwise, the stack can actually get cherry red and melt. It can get so hot, and then that's where the real danger is, you know. It can set an attic fire. If it goes through the attic, it can fail up there, and, you know, you get a fire in the attic and so forth. But they're really noisy. Our neighbor had one. It had a liner in a chimney, and boy, oh boy, the fire department came, and they put it out right away. They have a special nozzle that makes a kind of a steam-looking thing, and they just punch that in there, and boy, the fire goes right out. But it's a scary business. A lot of houses burn down from stack fires, so you got to be awful careful with them.
Timeout.
Here again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Let's make a trip to Richard, K7ITX.
K7ITX connected. N7KC.
No, not here. Don't even have the heat on. There's no reason to it. There's no reason to turn the heat on when it's already warm enough outside. Your house just stays automatically warm, like as the outside, like 72 degrees. It's very convenient. And then at night, you just, by the time it cools down, you're in bed with the covers on. The big deal for me now, coming up a week from tonight, my sister shows up from Winthrop, Washington. She's going to hang out with me while Debbie goes back up to Kent to kind of rearrange things. It's sure going to be kind of a delicate subject, but I might as well just blurt it out. I'd like to have one of her kidneys. How do you ask someone for one of their kidneys? That's a burning question for me right now. I'll figure it out. But thank God, I have the system I have going at home by myself now. And I'm free all day long, and no hindrances, no travel. So that part's good. But really, you got to have a working kidney inside your body, and she's only 11 months younger than me, so she is about as close to me generically as possible. But she's a retired nurse. That might help. K7ITX. Oh, wait. Um, I'll be back. K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, thanks with that. Well, let's go to Tacoma to Wade, W7ITL. Wade, what say you?
Well, hello guys. Let's see if I can get in here. Okay, I got the wrong video showing here. Let's see if I can get this to work. It's all right. A little different scene here, so let's see if I can get the video now. All right, well, here we go. All right, well, as I was saying, today has been a pretty busy day for me. On the roof, I had to cut cables out of the old conduit. I had to untangle all our cables and then bore new holes in the side of my house. And I didn't think I was actually going to get this all done before the net. This is pretty cool. I'm liking my new room here. I think I'm going to get some drapes so I can kind of dampen some of the noise in our living room. And then eventually I think we're going to try to get some French doors or maybe just a simple door and just kind of be able to deaden the sound and also kind of keep the heat. Because I have, if you look over here, let's see if I can show it. I have one of those ductless heaters up there, so I could get cooling and air conditioning and heating in here. And if I had a curtain, I could keep all the heat and the cooling in here. So that is today. So we're getting ready to move our. We have a new tenant that's going to be moving into our basement, and then we moved all my niece's stuff up to our spare room, which was my wife's office until today. Now my wife moved to where my ham radio desk is, and so that's why I'm down here now. Yeah, this will be my probably final net that I'll be able to do DATV. I might be able to do Discord next week, and then yeah, you guys are on a different time zone when I'm going to be in Florida, so I don't know if I'm going to be up at what is that 11 o'clock at night, but yeah. Let me break for a second. All right. Well, so this morning I did go to the Radio Club of Tacoma, and I saw yeah, I saw a bunch of people, and I saw Ron. I didn't stick around too long, so the reason I went over there is because I had to take my dog to the groomer, which is just a couple blocks away from the radio club, and so we did that so that we could have a little more freedom to do some of our cleanup activities without the dog kind of following us around. So that is that, I think, for this round. Tomorrow I do have some more things planned. I'm going to probably go up to the repeater site with Rob. We're going to do some more testing. We don't have any new gear, so there's not going to be much change to the repeater. That'll happen later in the next couple of weeks as parts come in. But hopefully the goal is to get a stronger signal to a wider area for everybody to be able to receive our signal. So Jim, you should be able to get a better signal. Right now I am increasing the power when we're doing nets so that you can get our signal. That's why at the beginning that you didn't really get a lot of video, because I usually keep the repeater at a little lower power so we're not, we're a little cleaner signal. So not to say we're not clean right now. We're clean. It's just we have a pretty high expectation of how clean we have to be since we're at a commercial radio site. So I do have to keep the power in check when we're just doing repeater activities. So that is that. I will turn it back to net control. Dave, this is W7ITL. Back to net.
W7ITL, thanks with that. And we'll get a quick ID here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, let's move on to Covington to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Let's see. Well, Wade, yes, I'm receiving the television repeater much better now. Not perfectly. It's still freezing. Maybe about 4 times or so per minute for maybe 3 or 4 seconds at a time, but it's substantially better. So thank you for that. Let's see. Jim, favorite movie line? Okay, I haven't thought of a whole lot of different ones, but something that just came to my pea brain for reasons which are not understood by me. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And I kind of think that's an accurate statement. So that's my 2 cents on that. Dave, yeah, going to Costco. I always wind up getting more stuff than I wanted to as well. Funny how that works. That's why, maybe that's why Costco gives you credit cards, so you buy more stuff. Let's see. Ron, son had a chimney fire. You had 2 chimney fires? My goodness. And then Jessica, you had a puking fireplace? Oh my goodness, yes. Fire is definitely dangerous. Stand back from that thing. Wow. I had a fireplace. Fortunately, I never had any problems with it. I hope that people who bought my house didn't have any worse experience, but oh well. And Lee, thank you for the insight on all of that. I do not have a fireplace in this house. I used to have a pellet stove, but it malfunctioned, and I could not find replacement parts for it. So it is sitting. Actually, it's sitting for, let's see, about at least 20 years. It's been sitting here waiting for me to take it to the dump. But what's that we were talking about on a previous net? Something about procrastinators. Well, it'll make it to the dump eventually. Meanwhile, there it is. And let's see. I also had a friend who had a pellet stove, who had a pellet stove fire. He left the house one time and then came back a couple of hours later, and there was smoke just pouring on the outside of the house. And when he went inside, the entire house was full of smoke. It's almost like it was smoldering or something. I don't exactly understand what happened to it, but so it doesn't break my heart too badly that my pellet stove bit the dust. And Dick, yeah, certainly family members would have a lot in common genetically. I'm not sure if all of the family members would be a match. I know there's some kind of testing to go through to determine if they're a match. I don't know. Good luck. Good luck on that guy. We'll pray for you. I'm sure all of us will do that. And Wade, yeah, sounds like you have been really busy today, working around the house, moving your shack, going to the radio club, going to the dog barber, and now you're joining us. So thanks for checking in anyway. We appreciate it. Back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO, thanks with that. Now let's move on to Northeast Bellevue. WU7N.
And he's like giving. Okay, any better now? All right, good. Thank you very much for the signal reports. Well, I recall there was a cartoonist. I saved this for a while because it was a caveman. He's giving sort of like a sales presentation to all these other cavemen in the cave. And the guy's, pointing at the fire, and one guy's shaking his hand and looking kind of mad, and the others are kind of looking suspicious. And he goes, "Fire! It lights, heats, cooks, hurts. 3 out of 4. Ain't bad." Hey, well, I guess if it lights, heats, and cooks, I guess that's pretty good. The hurts part, boy, you gotta watch it though. Let's see, the other, I think the other thing, Jim, if you let the pellet stove sit long enough, it'll just rust away, and then you won't have to take it to the dump anymore, I suppose. But I do also recall seeing a headline, let's see, it was something to the effect of chimney fires on the rise. That was in Texas. So I guess that was a little humor there to tell people to get their chimneys cleaned out. Anyway, yeah, "I'll be back" is a great movie line. There's probably many others. I see we got 5 minutes to the top of the hour. Maybe we can go around one more time, and you can give the movie lines. This is James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue.
WU7N, thanks with that. And this is Dave again in Lake City. And let's see, get back. We'll get back to Jessica about Sylvia. She was working on Air Force One. Is she going to go back to doing that? I think the president would like to see his plane before he leaves office, so that'll be kind of interesting to see what happens. Been a lot of delays. Last I've been reading, a lot of it was avionics was causing a problem. They kept upgrading the avionics. They couldn't keep it going into the new plane fast enough. So that was quite a delay. And let's see, thinking about words that they were saying, going back to chocolate, there was another line in there, da 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 happens. So anyway, such is life with that. So I'm going to move it back up to the top to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, this is Ron, KD7QKU. Well, I don't remember very many movie lines. I don't know if we saw that many movies. We used to go once in a while. I do remember the lines that you guys mentioned, but I did see Forrest Gump. That was a pretty good movie. And it's, I guess, getting back to the chimney fires. Well, I lived there almost 50 years, and starting in early 70s when I put the wood stove in, I burned at least 6 pickup loads of wood a winter, and I run that stove from fall to spring, and I run it 24/7. And the first time we had a chimney fire, I think someone, rang the doorbell like at 11 at night, and it was the fire department. Someone had driven up the street, I guess, and saw the flames coming out of the top of the chimney. And so they came in, and like Lee says, they put it out. But it seems to me like they used water. But anyway, they put it out. I was a little skeptical about it. So it went into a fireplace with a liner in it. And the fireplace was in the garage, so it was pretty safe. And Mike's chimney is outside. It doesn't go up through his house. But he said the pipe from the stove into the wall where the, goes into the outside pipe was practically cherry red. I'm gonna have to tell him that there is something that he can buy that he can put in there to put it out. He went and got the garden hose, and he did wet everything down, including the stove inside and everything, and did get it out. I think he had a pretty big mess to clean up. But then I did have another chimney fire when I lived there, but I realized it, and so then I was able to shut the stove down and let it burn out, and it didn't do any harm that I know of. So anyway, I guess we were lucky. That's it, I guess. I don't know, Jim, N7QO, if you have a reciprocating saw, you could probably cut that up and put it in the
I
garbage.
do with a lot of stuff here. I cut it up with a reciprocating saw, and I put a piece in at a time, and eventually it all goes to
Tacoma, to their landfill or transfer station or whatever they do with it. Sometimes it takes quite a while to get rid of it, but eventually I get rid of it. So just food for thought. All right, we'll see you all over on Discord here pretty soon. KD7QKU, back to that.
KD7QKU, thanks for that. And time to wrap up the net for this evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. We'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08 for our voice transmissions for this net. And remember, you have to have a tone of 103.5 to communicate with this net. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7ZYM, signing off at 9 o'clock. Good evening all.
KC disconnected. K7ITX disconnected.